Welcome to Gospel Tangents, the best source for Mormon history, science, and theology. I'm Rick Bennett. Following the Mormon expulsion from Missouri, someone made an attempt on Governor Boggs' life. Was it Porter Rockwell? Historian Steve LeSueur will weigh in on that in our next conversation. You won't want to miss it. Check it out. Except for I guess we forgot about the assassination of Governor Boggs, and actually I wanted to get your opinions of Governor Boggs handling. I know you said in your book by the end of his term nobody liked him. He wasn't a very good governor. Was he a pretty terrible governor? Would a different person have handled that better?
I'd say a different person probably couldn't have handled it worse. So that I would say, that, in the book, I tried to let him speak for himself and explain, well, this is why I did this or that, but for the most part, as it turned out, he was prepared to send out troops early on when he thought, the Mormons were the cause of trouble. And then it turned out that Atchison and his troops were able to solve things. And so Boggs didn't come out. He didn't need to. But then later, as things started breaking down, Boggs continually, he heard reports from his generals saying, you need to come out here. You have, that, and the Mormons are not at fault, but the Mormons are in a desperate situation. They're desperate people, and we could have a big war here, a big conflict. And so they asked him to come out. He didn't come out. You could say, well, that it isn't necessarily the governor's job to call out troops and lead them out, all the way out west like that. But that's what he was asked to do. Then likewise, when DeWitt was besieged and the Mormons asked for help yet again, and he didn't help them. He just essentially, he left it up to local authorities, which in essence was no help. And by that point, he knew it was no help. So, and again, he defended himself by saying, that the local authorities had solved it before, if they could do it again. Also, I think he had become sort of a laughingstock is too strong, but he was criticized and ridiculed when he had first intended to come out. This was a month earlier with troops. He called out troops and they were kind of, disorganized and a lot of money was spent. And then he just said, well, it looks like they solved the problem out there. We don't have to do it. And so he was kind of laughed at for wasting money. And perhaps he didn't want to look like that again. But as it turned out, he eventually had to call out troops. And he seemed, he was not hesitant to call out troops when they were against the Mormons.
So would you say he was the worst governor of Missouri?
Well, I don't know my Missouri history, so
there might have been one worse.
I don't want to shortchange anybody. but yeah, no, he was, by the time he left office, he was not popular. No, as it turned out, then he later went to California and he became an alcalde, I think is how you pronounce it, some type of like county leader or something like that. So it's interesting how people like that, he still became a leader, moving someplace else. Though not governor. Though interestingly enough, Peter Burnett, who was a member of General Doniphan's brigade, he went out to California and he became their first governor, the first governor of the state of California.
Oh, okay.
And he was among other things, he was one of the Mormons' lawyers after the Richmond hearing. So he was at the grand jury hearing in Gallatin when the Mormons were there.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on the assassination attempt on Governor Boggs?
Yeah, just based on my knowledge, it's not something I looked into recently. So if there's been recent evidence, I don't know of it. But the evidence seems to be that on the one hand, when you say the attempt, Porter Rockwell was accused, a Mormon, was accused of trying to assassinate Boggs, and Boggs was shot. He was shot, and so Porter Rockwell mysteriously happened to be in Independence at the time, was arrested, tried by a jury, and acquitted. They didn't have enough evidence to convict him, and you would think that this would be a jury that might be eager to convict a Mormon of something like this, but they didn't. So on the one hand, there doesn't seem to be any evidence. We haven't uncovered any evidence about it. On the other hand, what was Porter Rockwell? He had no business really in that town. There was nothing, no reason why he should have been there. No reason why any Mormon would have wanted to have been in Western Missouri at that time. And excuse me for forgetting, I don't even remember which year that was. Was it 42, 43?
I don't remember either.
So anyway, the Mormons weren't there. They hadn't, and he had no reason to be there. There's a story that likely apocryphal, but somebody asked Porter Rockwell, well, did you really try and assassinate Boggs? And he says, or did you really try to attempt to assassinate Boggs? And he said, well, if it had been me, it would not have been an attempted assassination.
Yeah, I would done it. I wouldn't have missed.
Yeah, he would be dead.
It seems like Alex Boggs said that he thought that because it was like a buckshot pistol, it wasn't something that would have killed him, like a BB gun kind of a thing, more to just to scare him, right?
Yeah.
And so he thought, well, maybe Porter was just trying to scare Boggs, which, if that's what it was, that he certainly did. He certainly accomplished that. So, all right. Well, Stephen, this has been great. Is there anything we've missed?
Well, let's see. I mean, just a couple of perhaps minor things but I'll mention them. That as you look at the events, as I mentioned earlier, as they unfolded, it was not a giant conspiracy of the Missourians or this large group of Missourians that we just got to get the Mormons out of here. But rather it was sort of one thing after another of each side reacting to the other, each side thinking the worst of the other. And there were, things that went on among the Mormons that some Mormons were unhappy with, that the people we call dissenters and people who testified at the Richmond hearing, they have been denigrated as, apostates and liars and people who were just bitter. But actually, to a large degree, Mormon historians now place a lot of credit, that is, believe, what they said. Now, this is aside from Samson Abard. Abard, that these people are different from Abard, even though they get lumped in as he's a dissenter, they're a dissenter. Well, or he testified, they testified. They opposed Samson Abard. That's why they were dissenters, as they opposed Dantinism. But in any case, one of the things we've learned from these events is there were some things going on in Mormonism with the Danites and other things that we've talked about that disturb dissenters and disturb Mormons. Is we shouldn't be doing this. Another thing too about the Missourians is a lot of them were sympathetic to the Mormons, and it was just, again, as the events unfolded, eventually those Missourians who were sympathetic to the Mormons came to believe that they are in rebellion, just like everybody's been saying. And actually, I take that back. General Donovan, Alexander Donovan, and David Atchison, they did not say they've been in rebellion, just like everybody said. What they said is they've been goaded. They use the word goaded. They've been goaded by mob after mob until now the Mormons have taken up arms and the Mormons have become aggressors.
Interesting. It seems like you're pretty fair-handed with this as far as assigning blame a little bit everywhere.
I like to be. Tell that to Alex.
I will do that. So,
And by the way, I joke, Alex is, I in preparation for this interview, I reread his dissertation.
oh, okay.
And yeah, so there are places we disagree with each other, but they are interpretations as opposed to, I suppose, just outright fictions or something of that nature. And
Yeah.
hopefully he believes the same thing of me. And yes, Steve is he's got his facts right, but we're interpreting them differently.
Well, I enjoyed the back and forth. I know not many people saw Trouble in Zion. I thought it was a great movie. We actually had a award activity. Kenny Valentine came out, and that was great. And I wish that was still available on Amazon. I guess I have a rare copy now.
So how did the people in your ward react to it?
They were fine with it. Yeah, I mean they thought it was fair. Because I think Kenny really tried to kind of show both sides, your side, Alex's side, and I loved the descendant of William Peniston on there. That was pretty interesting to see him on there, and some of those Missouri folks. So, and I know Kenny, he's still doing some stuff, but I don't think he's doing a lot of documentaries anymore. But
so does he live near you?
No, he's in California. He came all the way to Utah for that, so that was kind of nice. So while he was promoting that movie, so I would say go watch it. I'm gonna talk to Kenny and say you need to put that on YouTube or something. Let people see it because nobody can see it anymore. But because I'm pretty sure I was looking at it on Amazon and they're out of stock. I think he's sold out of all his DVDs, but I have one and an autographed poster too. So
Yeah, well, you have a collector's item then.
yes, definitely. So, Stephen LeSueur, I really appreciate you appearing here on Gospel Tangents, and I'm going to have to get you to sign my book somehow. We'll figure that out.
I'm glad to.
All right. Thanks again.
I'll sign both of them.
All right. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with historian Stephen LeSueur. Steve, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It was a very fun conversation, and I can't wait to see you, hopefully, at John Whitmer Historical Association. And so that'll be in Independence this year in September, by the way, for the rest of you. And so hopefully I'll get my book signed by then. So anyway, thanks again, Steve. Really appreciate it. In our next conversation, I'm excited to introduce a prophet from across the pond. His name is Matthew Gill, and he leads the Restored Branch of Jesus Christ.
Yeah. When we first started, way back in 2006, we went for the Latter-day Church of Jesus Christ, I think, and then we got into some legal wrangles with the LDS Church, and
Oh, really?
we got into some legal wranglings, and we came to an amicable decision in the end, so we just had to change our name.
If you'd like to hear the entire interview uncut, please subscribe to patreon.com/gospeltangents for just $5 a month. Patreon is spelled patreon.com/gospeltangents. If you'd like to watch the entire video, you can subscribe at YouTube, Patreon, or on my website at gospeltangents.com and click the yellow subscribe button for just $8 a month. PDF transcripts are just $10 a month, and you can get those on patreon.com/gospeltangents or on my website. I'll send those to you as soon as I've finished completing it. If you'd like to get a paperback and PDF, just subscribe for $20 a month at either Patreon or on my website. Individual paperbacks are available at Amazon.com. Just do a search for Gospel Tangents Interview, and you can find all of our past interviews there. Show your Gospel Tangents pride by purchasing a t-shirt on our website at gospeltangents.com/shop. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts at tinyurl.com/gospeltangents. You can get our latest updates by friending me at Facebook, or you can also follow our page at facebook.com/gospeltangents. Become an insider and you can see the newest videos. Follow us on Twitter at Gospel Tangents. Click here to subscribe, here for a transcript, and over here we've got some of our great videos. Thanks again.